Welcome to the year 1973 of Soviet space program. In this episode, we will take advantage of a transfer window to Mars, continue low Earth orbit operations, and begin efforts for lunar habitation. We will start off in the admin building, as we need to rehire Sergei Korolev back as the administration leader. Then head over into research and development. Beginning in this year, I have upgraded the RP-1 game version from 3.14 up to the more recent 4.2. As a part of this change, the save now implements storage space as a game mechanic. The most current storage technology is 1969 digital tape recorders, which we will select to unlock. Comstech Level 6 is also now available within Deep Space Communications, so we will grab that as well. The financial struggle with the UR-600 rocket is still a problem, as another 280,000 unlock credit still needs to be collected, primarily for the hardware on the upper stages. To work around this issue, we will integrate a smaller variant of the UR-600 to fly an optional lunar habitation contract. Staying above the lower limit of this launch complex, this variant uses the upper stage of the R-56 and allows for a payload just over 100 tons to reach low Earth orbit. There will be many parts of this design which we might never use again, so the financial decision is to integrate them untooled, as there's practically no cost savings and integration times are not greatly impacted. Once integration is commenced, the budget window shows that there is still a fair amount of daily funding collecting in the reserves. Another 30 engineers are hired, just to help the build speed ever so slightly. The fourth expedition to the Mir station is initiated towards the end of February. Aboard the Soyuz are Aleksandra, Alexei, and Vasily. They will be the crew responsible for testing the limits of space occupation by staying aboard the station in excess of 1 year. The capstone contract for the early station program is halfway completed, so this group of cosmonauts will be carrying it across the finish line during their marathon mission. Upon reaching proximity of the Mir, they were requested to maintain a holding pattern, as the team aboard the Mir have forgotten to fully unload the contents of the Progress resupply vehicle. The crew of Expedition 3 spent several minutes transferring the remaining supplies before the Progress was sent away, allowing the docking port to now be used by the arriving crew. Expedition 4 recommences their approach and docking sequence. But during the final approach to the port, a pair of RCS thrusters located on the orbital module failed to operate, causing the craft to enter a gentle roll. They were able to maintain their approach in light of this control failure and successfully dock with the station. On March 23rd, Expedition Team 3 says their goodbyes and departs from the Mir. Unfortunately, the RCS failure, which was experienced just 2 days prior, appears to now be a problem on this craft as well. Once the orbital module and service module are jettisoned, the cosmonauts finally get some relief from the spinning. But now, they will need to bear the forces of re-entry as they make their return to home soil. Taking a quick stop at the Space Center, we head into the admin building to hire OKB456, who will provide a considerable integration speed increase for turbopump engines. Afterwards, another mission control upgrade is commenced to allow us to have 10 active contracts. Funding is barely enough to support this construction, but we will manage. If finances become an issue, we can throttle it back if required. March 30th. We check back in with Expedition 4 aboard the Mir, as they are making a pass above the Gulf of Mexico. Peering out their windows, they can visually make out the surface features of Kennedy Space Center, including the various launch pads along the coast of Florida. Finishing their brief sightseeing, they take note of 2 completed contracts. The Mir has now accomplished the 1-year crew duration record, having continuous occupation in space. Additionally, the 3rd station supply contract has also been achieved. Included as part of that contract is the completion of 486 days of the multi-month space habitation experiment. With 244 more days of that experiment still remaining, we can expect to complete the objectives of the early space stations program with a few more months of effort. We are beginning to reach the midway point for 1973. Another Progress supply vehicle makes its way to the Mir, performing a routine restock of supplies. What makes this one different is that there is no research payload aboard, but instead is packed with an extra 3 weeks' worth of food and life support. Not including research payload does mean that the experiment will be paused for a bit of time, but this is of no concern. As mentioned before, the Mir station will continue operating, even after the completion of the early stations program. To this point, we can give the cosmonauts a short break, as they will be getting plenty more work when the next station module arrives for an expansion. The time for the inaugural flight of the UR-600 is finally upon us. The 6 RD-270 engines successfully ignite, commencing the efforts to return to Luna. Two minutes and 55 seconds into the flight, the core stage depletes. Then the flight-proven upper stage from the R-56 propels the cosmonauts for the last leg into orbit. With the fairings and launch escape tower now jettisoned, we can get our first look at the craft for this mission. In addition to the primary objective of the lunar station, the transfer stage is carrying aboard a much smaller probe along for the ride. This probe will be performing a survey of the moon from a polar orbit, which happens to be a prerequisite for the later multi-month surface missions. The lunar station will similarly be placed into a polar orbit as well, as there is another optional contract for a polar crewed flight. Now on course for the moon, the cosmonauts decouple the lunar Soyuz to perform a transposition with the station, then settle in for a 3-day transit. Having 2 concurrent crafts in transit to the moon, there was a minor course correction change performed by the Surveyor probe, allowing it to arrive roughly 10 minutes earlier. This gives enough time to execute the capture maneuver before we have to switch the focus back to the crew. The capture burn for the lunar station is supported by the freshly unlocked RD-58M engine, which will burn for a total of 4.5 minutes. A successful lunar capture. Tamara, Sergei, and Alessia perform final system enablements before they settle in for their month-long mission in lunar orbit. A window has finally opened for sending crafts to the Red Planet, and we will be taking advantage of this by launching several missions. The first of these will be Marsnik 3. Much like the later Venera missions, this craft is designed as an orbiter with a lander packaged on board. The objective of Marsnik 3 is to accomplish the first landing on Mars. It will also aim to complete 2 optional secondary contracts, including atmospheric science, as well as entering into a specific orbit around the planet. After completing the Trans-Mars injection and some minor course corrections, Marsnik 3 puts the avionics into hibernation as it makes its 220-day journey to the Red Planet. Following close on the heels of the Marsnik probe is another launch also headed for the same destination. However, the mission for this one is targeted for the closest satellite body, Phobos. Utilizing the same orbiter as Marsnik 3, Phobos 1 includes the addition of fixed landing legs and a secondary pair of RCS thrusters, both of which will aid the probe to perform a landing on the surface. After the transfer burn, Phobos 1 is left to coast for an entire day before a minor course correction is executed. Following shortly after, the trajectory is analyzed to confirm the probe will be able to achieve a Phobos encounter. We will catch back up with this probe early next year. But for now, we will change our focus back to the missions ongoing at our own moon. A week after entering into lunar orbit, the Surveyor has accomplished its objective to capture 60% of the Infrared Radiometry 3 experiment, with over 4 biomes returning 90% of their data. There is plenty more science for it to capture beyond the contract, and it will continue to do so during its lifespan in polar orbit. The window to Mars is starting to close, but we are going to send one more probe while it is still possible. In the event that Marsnik 3 fails to meet its objectives, it could put us in a difficult spot with the program deadline. As a precautionary measure, Marsnik 4 is launched as a backup. In the event that Marsnik 3 succeeds, this sister probe will still continue with its mission, aiming to land in a different biome to gather even more science. It has been just over 30 days for the crew aboard the lunar station, and they have succeeded in completing the scientific objective. There are still 23 months left of the experiment to collect, but that will be a multi-team effort accomplished in the coming years. Even though the station can still support the cosmonauts for another 4 weeks, it's about time for their return home. On the following day, a return window has opened. The cosmonauts depart from the lunar station and prepare for the journey home. The crew follow a re-entry corridor over the Indian Ocean, executing a skip re-entry. This maneuver allows them to travel a bit further north and land within Soviet territories. The middle of September marks a grand moment for the space agency. As the upgrade for mission control finally completes, a transformation occurs for many of the buildings at the site, including the VAB, the spaceplane hangar, as well as research and development. But from the gameplay perspective, the only change is that we can now have 10 active contracts instead of 7. While the multi-month space habitation experiment is the primary objective for the Mir, there are a few more experiments that the crews can be performing aboard this station. Taking flight aboard the Proton is the next station expansion, named Spectre. In addition to carrying fresh supplies for the cosmonauts in space, this new module includes 3 new experiments: zero-G flammability, composite casting, and an Earth resources experiment. In total, these 3 additional experiments will be able to net an extra 500 science when completed. The module is also fitted with 2 additional pairs of solar panels. The Mir has been in operation for over 2 years, with varying level of solar panel degradation. The Spectre module helps freshen up the station's ability to generate power, but it also gives the crews aboard a little extra space to move about. Now with a fresh resupply of research payload, the cosmonauts can continue performing the multi-month space habitation experiment. Since the research credits are still not enough to consider integrating the next UR600, one final RD-57 test flight is launched to close out the year. Based on the current accumulation rate for the credits, we are projecting the next UR600 to be integrated January of next year. Rather than sitting on our hands for the next few months, it won't hurt to do this last test flight to improve the reliability data. This time around, another test that will be executed is engine relights. During the last few minutes of the flight, the engine will be commanded off and reignited a total of 3 times. Surprisingly, no failure was experienced. Overall, a successful year for the space agency, which is looking to expand the ranks of its cosmonauts. For those still watching, I'm planning on hiring 4 to 6 more cosmonauts into my program, and I'm opening up recruitment to you, the viewers. Comment below Red October for a chance to be selected. Increase your chance of selection by making sure you are subscribed to the channel, and while you're at it, give the video a like. This new crew of cosmonauts will also be the ones that will journey to the Red Planet. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.